What's up, everybody? This is What is Sports? I am your host, Tyler Dietz. With me is Nick Grant. How's it going, Nick?
Hey, man. Going pretty good. Happy to be here. Let's talk some football.
Football. Yes, that's the one where they kick the ball with their foot, right?
Yep, that's right.
Yes, one of them.
And that's a JP on the other mic. How's it going, JP?
Oh, it's going pretty well.
You know what? I actually watched my first football game the other day.
What?
I
Your
watched
first ever?
Yeah, well, not the first ever, but because I've watched Super Bowl games and a few like games that are on just the TV while we're having Thanksgiving or whatever. But the first of this season, I watched I think it was the 49ers and the
was it the Broncos?
It was the Broncos, yeah. So yeah, it was a good time. I'm ready to get into it. But now, before we get into the main topics of today, some social media plugs. Give us a like on our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter at WhatIsSports1 with no question mark. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, etc. Leave us a rating and review if you enjoy the show. Also, check out our sister show, What is Nerd, where we're talking about Star Trek. We're finishing up our series on doing a bunch of different Star Trek movies and stuff like that, so it'll be good. And send us an email if you have any comments, questions, or concerns at wisportscast@gmail.com. Now, before we get into some news items, I want to give a shout-out to our Listener League Fantasy Football Draft, which is going to be happening September 1st at 5 p.m. Central Time. Oh, yeah. Well, and we're going to have some details on this later, but if you're not a part of the league, it'll still be fun to listen in on. This is actually going to be a live broadcast, our first ever. So hopefully it'll go okay, but it should be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun, and the platform we're using, people can tune in and listen in, and there's be a chat box so you can talk to us during the recording.
Yeah,
so
you can make fun of me for picking all the terrible players because I don't know anyone.
Right, yeah. Make fun of Dietz. Hang out with us. It'll be a lot of fun. It'll be our first live show ever, so we're breaking history here, essentially. It's a big deal, and we're excited. And more details will be hitting your news feed later. I don't know. It'll be fun though. It'll be cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, now speaking of news feeds, we got a couple of news items. I want to talk a little bit about motorsport. We got the IndyCar series, which is wrapping up. We actually had the fourth to last race of the entire season, which was on this past Sunday, the ABC Supply 500. I'm not going to talk about that race that much because I want to get through this, but if you're not watching IndyCar racing, we got 3 more races left in the season, and right now the standings for the overall season, we got Joseph Newgarden in first place with 535 points, Alexander Rossi in second place with 500 points, Simon Pagenaud in third place with 495 points. Scott Dixon in fourth place with 483 points. And then Will Power, fifth place with 407 points. So there's a bit of a gap between fourth and fifth place. But the top 4 are actually pretty close. The way that the points work in IndyCar is if you get first place, you're awarded 50 points. Second place, you're awarded 40 points. Third, you're awarded 35. And so the gap kind of gets smaller in between each number of points that you're awarded. But long story short, the things can definitely change. If one of the top racers has a bad race, that can set them, like Joseph Newgarden, for example, it can set him from first place to fourth place.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty crazy how fast the tables can turn.
Yes. Well, and that's the thing is with racing, you watch it and you see that crazy stuff happens. People, if you crash your car and you can't finish the race, that's a huge hit. And so, Newgarden is not safe by a long shot.
No one's safe.
Exactly, yeah. And so the next 3 races should be really tense. The next one is this coming Saturday, August 24th, Saturday night. That's the Gateway Grand Prix. That's going to be on NBC Sports. And then after that, we'll have a race on Sunday, September 1st. That's the Grand Prix of Portland on NBC. And then we have a bit of a break. They come back for the final Grand Prix, September 22nd. Which I'll talk about that whenever it gets closer to that. Also want to give a quick shout out to Formula One. They're in the middle of a break, but they're going to be resuming their semi-regular races on September 1st with the Belgian Grand Prix. They're a little over halfway through their season. This will be race 13 of 21. And their season ends December 1st, so they'll be kind of racing throughout the rest of the fall. And then also want to give a quick shout to NASCAR, which we haven't covered on the show at all, and I haven't paid any attention to it, but their
Don't worry, I haven't either.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the NASCAR playoffs start September 15th, and they go until November 17th. This is the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series playoffs, the big main thing.
Yeah, like I've said before, I just feel like, before this podcast, NASCAR is what I knew most about, I feel like, as far as racing. But now it's like I don't really care about NASCAR. Formula One and IndyCar seem a lot more interesting.
Maybe.
And maybe that's because we've discussed them, and
exactly.
I'm biased because I don't know anything about NASCAR.
Yeah. Well, and that's obviously we're waiting until playoffs to start talking about it on the show, but they have 2 more races in the regular season. And so September 1st, they have the Bojangles Southern 500, which sounds like a NASCAR race if I've ever heard one.
It sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I kind of want to watch that race just because of the name.
That's on NBC Sports. September 1st. So I'm going to watch that one. There's 2 other races that day. There's a Formula One and an IndyCar race, but might as well make a day of it. Because I do want to see what the regular season races are like before they get into playoffs. So I'll kind of, chip in with that after I watch that. But yeah, that is. There's a lot going on in motorsport right now, but that sums it up for the most part. Now, Nick, you last episode you mentioned the PGA FedEx Cup playoff. So what's going on with that?
That's right. It's still in full swing.
Oh.
I'm a dad, so I can make those bad jokes. But yeah, it's going on. It's actually almost over. This past weekend, the PGA had the BMW Championship, and Justin Thomas won. And if you want to watch any, some of the best golf in the world, this weekend's basically your last chance, I believe, for some time, where the FedEx Cup concludes at East Lake Golf Course in Atlanta, Georgia. It's this weekend, so I don't know. It's August 24th. I think it starts on the 22nd, I believe, the Thursday. Maybe not. Anyways, look it up. But it's this weekend, and the top 5 golfers leading into it are Justin Thomas, Patrick Cantlay, Brooks Koepka, Patrick Reed, and Roy McIlroy. And Justin Thomas is starting off with 10 under par. Patrick Cantlay starting at 8 under par, Brooks Koepka starting at 7 under par, and Patrick Reed 6 under par, and Roy McIlroy at 5 under. That's that staggering we talked about.
Well, and that's the Tour Championship, right? I actually found it on my I set my DVR for it because I know I've said that golf is boring, okay, and old people watch it. But I'm really going to try to watch the Tour Championship. I'm gonna do my best to get into it.
I don't know. I'm kind of sad that the whole season's coming to an end, though. Just because this is the last golf event of the year, right? I guess professional golf.
To be honest, I'm not sure if it's the very last, but it's because there's still plenty of months for golf, so I don't see why it would be the very last. Yeah. But it's definitely the last of the PGA Tour, so. If you want some awesome golf to watch, this is the weekend to do it.
Yeah, it's kind of the climax of the season.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Next up you got Little League World Series, right, Nick?
That's right. Yeah. JP, have you been watching any of it?
I watched it a little bit this past weekend. I saw that, it was Saturday or Sunday. I just know that the Pirates and Cubs players were there, and they were kind of intermingling with the Little League players, because I guess there was the Pirates and Cubs. It was those two teams, right?
Right. Yeah. They played a game. I don't know. It obviously wasn't at the Little League complex because it is home run city.
Exactly.
It'd be another home run derby out there for the major leaguers. But no, they played in a different ballpark and played. It was kind of tying into the Little League Baseball World Series. That was pretty cool. But this is the final stretch. The last game will be Sunday, August 25th, so this Sunday. And there's still several teams in it. It's a double elimination bracket tournament, but the teams are guaranteed at least to play at least 3 games, because it'd be kind of disappointing to only play 2 games after traveling so far. Saturday, August 24th, that's the U.S. Final bracket finals, and the international bracket finals will be going on that day, and then the big match will be on Sunday the 25th. But yeah,
okay. So Sunday to the 25th is so who's it looking like it's going to be? Any ideas?
Well, right now there's 4 teams that haven't lost yet. You have in the U.S. bracket, you have the Southeast region team with 0 losses. Then you have the West region team, and then you also in the international side you have Asia Pacific and Japan with 0 losses. So those are probably your best bet for at least one of those teams making it. And also some history was made. Maddie Freaking became the 19th girl to play at the Little League World Series, and she became the 6th female to take the mound at the tournament's biggest stage. So that's pretty awesome. She plays for the Midwest region team, and that's pretty cool. And apparently she did really well. But yeah, so it's wrapping up, and if you guys want to watch some fun Little League baseball, this is your time to do it.
Hey, have you seen that big player on New Jersey's team who like shakes his belly whenever he gets a hit or something?
No, but I wish I had.
Okay, he's like this huge guy. I think he's 5'11" maybe, but he's probably
Is he one of the players?
Yeah, he's one of the players.
5'11". That's
how
pretty
old is
big.
he supposed
I mean, they're 10 and
how
12
old
years
is he
old. I mean, that's pretty big.
Maybe he's not that. He's big though. They showed him standing next to one of the catchers, and he's like twice his size. But anyway, every time he's also pretty hefty too. So like every time he gets a big hit, he like runs to first or whatever base, and then he like puts his arms out to his side and shakes his belly. It's pretty funny. Just having fun out there.
Keep an eye out for him.
Yeah, I'll have to YouTube a bit later.
Yeah, he's on New Jersey's team, I think.
All right, I'll check it out.
Now, let's move on to our main topic, because I know you guys are pretty pumped about football. So, I guess, me, I've never kept up with football before. Listeners of the show will know this. I mean, I feel like I'm pretty comfortable with, knowing how the sport works and all that, but I just never really stuck with it very long. There's been some seasons where I'm like, okay, I'm going to start watching football this year, and I'll watch like a couple of Cowboys games, and then I'll lose interest. So I'm sticking with it this year because obviously we have the podcast, right? But I guess what are the things that I should know going into this NFL football season?
Well, I don't have a whole lot to say, really, but I would just like to give a quick shout-out to a friend of the show, Daisy Cox. She messaged me on Facebook the other day, and I mentioned about our Fantasy Football Listener League, and she was saying how she likes the show, and she doesn't know a whole lot about football, and this is what she sent me. She says, I don't know anything about football and heard a lot of people talking about it. Football for me is 2 group of guys that like to dress with similar clothes and run after each other trying to get the ball. When they get tired of running or get caught, then they jump on top of each other, forming a human mountain. And honestly, that's pretty accurate. I mean, that sums it up.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty much it. I think we're done. I think that explained everything.
That was a good show, guys. We'll see y'all next week for What is Sports.
I don't know. Are there divisions, or are there like leagues and stuff like in baseball?
Yeah, there are.
Okay.
You have with the NFL, you have the AFC, which is the one division, and then the NFC, obviously another division. Let me guess. Because listeners, I literally don't know this stuff about how the league works, but AFC, I'm gonna guess, stands for American Football League. American Football Conference.
Sorry. Conference, right. And then NFC is National Football Conference,
exactly,
right?
Yes, okay.
It's just like the American League and the National League with baseball, right?
Yes. So, okay. So there are 32 teams in all. Let's start with the AFC. So the AFC, we have the AFC East, AFC West, AFC North, and AFC South. Okay. And then NFC, you have the NFC East, which is the most important conference because that's what your Dallas Cowboys. And then we have our NFC West, NFC North, in NFC South.
So from a so us from a Texas perspective, right? We had so you said that the Dallas Cowboys are in the NFC, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the
Right.
NFC East. So does that mean the Houston Texans are in the AFC East?
Exactly. No. They're in the AFC South.
AFC South.
But
Okay.
what I was gonna say was I thought you were gonna get to like the one day the Texans and the Cowboys could meet in the Super Bowl. Okay.
Whoa.
Right. Yeah. So you at the very end of the playoffs, you have those NFC teams that make the playoffs. They're in one bracket, and the AFC teams. It's kind of like we've talked about hockey, basketball.
Because baseball's like that too, isn't it?
Yeah, we have
like,
the American League and National League. Yeah, the NFL is essentially the same. You have one side, like JP was saying, which is the AFC, and the other is the NFC. And so you have it builds up to the NFC and AFC championship, and the winner of those.
Those are the semifinals for the.
Essentially, yeah. And then the winner of the best team out of the AFC and the best team out of the NFC face each other in the Super Bowl, which actually I don't know if we can say that because it's copyrighted, so people just call it the big game.
We can't say Super Bowl.
Well, you're not supposed to.
Wow.
I think it's for advertising purposes though. I think we can say it, but
So anyway, let's talk about who goes to the playoffs. So the winner of each division is automatically granted a bid to the playoffs. And then you have two. Wait, okay, Nick, is there one wild card game per division or two? I think there's just one, right?
well, there's two wild cards per conference. So you have two in the AFC and then one in the NFC.
Okay.
I mean, you have two in the NFC as well.
Okay, so for playoffs, it's the top. So it's the top member of each division, and then there are two wild card teams that also go to the playoffs, right?
Yes, and that's based off of their regular season record.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So there are 6 seeds in all, basically.
Right.
So then that's what I thought.
Now, so we know the different conferences. It seems like there's a lot of them. But so in y'all's opinions, if I'm a newcomer to football and I want to know which team should I pay attention to so that I can basically know who's going to be in playoffs and stuff, which are the teams in each division that are like the best that I should be keeping an eye on?
Well, probably the best place to look would be the AFC East, where you have the New England Tom Brady's. I mean, the Patriots. They are probably. Right. It's been fun to watch them. At first, I didn't care for the Patriots, and I'm still not a fan. But when you have the opportunity to watch the greatest quarterback that ever played the game of football, that's pretty spectacular. So New England Patriots, I feel like, in the AFC East are probably the best team or one of the best teams to watch. Then you have some other good teams. I mean, Kansas City, they set the world on fire.
Yeah, very exciting quarterback.
Yeah, what's that guy's
Patrick
name?
Mahomes.
Is he from? Isn't he from Tyler, Texas? Right.
He's from White
House.
House. He's from White House. Yeah, played at Texas Tech, and they dominated. Their offense is crazy high scoring, and so these are like some other good teams to know. I mean, obviously Pittsburgh Steelers. They're usually pretty good. Who else?
One exciting team would be the Browns, because the Browns I think last year they won their first football game in like 2 years. They had some terrible. They've been known to just kill quarterbacks. Like so many quarterbacks they've drafted who just ended up being
like their careers are dead. Well, I remember the only professional football game that I've ever been to in person was whenever I was living in Houston, and the Texans, I believe, is either the first or second year as a team, and they were terrible. Like at the beginning there.
Man, yeah, that's a sad story because okay, here's what happened. I was actually reading about this today. I was reading an article about these quarterbacks, like what happened to them. And one was talking about David Carr, who was the quarterback for the Texans.
And he was supposed to be – people were so excited for him, and I guess the team was just a failure for the first few years. And I guess I haven't heard of him since, but –
Well, yeah, because here's what happened. So they were an expansion team, so they got a bunch of – I don't know how it worked out, but they added the Texans. And apparently the offensive line was complete trash.
Okay.
And I think that's an understatement of how bad their offensive line was. And you kind of need an offensive line's important to protect your quarterback and to make running lanes for your running back, right? Well, their offensive line was terrible, and so he got sacked a whole lot, and his body just would break down because
Oh, wow.
you got these 200-pound dudes running at you, hitting you nonstop. Your body's gonna take a toll.
Man, so he literally got destroyed, like because of
Pretty
'cause
much.
the Texans suck so bad.
Yeah, but times have changed. They've had some other good quarterbacks and some other good players, and right now they have Deshaun Watson, who's a really electric quarterback, young quarterback. So he makes things fun to watch.
Well, and that game that I went to was against the Browns, and I believe that was one of like the few games that the Texans won that season.
Yeah.
But I do remember that though. So.
But there have been like, I don't know, they had like Colt McCoy went there and he's not really around. And then remember Brady Quinn went there, he's not around anymore. Just like all these quarterbacks that were drafted like the number 1 pick or top 5 at least, they had a lot of promise and they get drafted by the Browns and their team sucks, their offensive line sucks, and so I don't know. It's just like with the NFL. I mean, you don't have very many chances, and you just have to make the most of the chances you're given. But I don't know. The Browns just never gave anybody a chance. But they've been bad for so long. They finally, because the worst teams get the top picks in the draft, so they've kind of built their team back up. Baker Mayfield is their quarterback now. This will be his second season. He's from OU, and I believe he won the Heisman.
Yeah, he did. But also in addition to that, I mean, they drafted Nick Chubb, who's now from Georgia, who had a great season last year. They made a lot of acquisitions last year for their team, and the big deal this offseason, they traded for Odell Beckham Jr., who's one of the elite.
Oh gosh, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, he's one of the elite receivers in the game right now, and they traded him from the New York Giants, and so the Browns' offense is expected to be pretty good this year, and they're supposed to be pretty exciting to watch. And actually, in my teams to watch, they're my team for the AFC North.
Cool.
Yeah, that'll be cool. I'm sure it'll be. I mean, that's a pretty good division between the Ravens, Bengals, and Steelers, and I mean, so you never know with that division. But I hope the Browns do well. Baker is one of those. Every sport has those young kind of cocky players. They just think they're all that, but he's like one of those people that people love to hate him. So anyway, I'm sure he'll bring a lot of attention to the team.
Nice. Well, okay. So, are there any other super notable teams that I should know about?
Well, you have your Dallas Cowboys, who, so right now they're kind of going through some issues. We have their star running back Ezekiel Elliott, who's holding out for a bigger contract.
Didn't they have a thing where like the coach was making fun of him or something like that in an interview?
No, it was Jerry Jones. Because
is he the owner? Is he the owner?
Yeah, he's the owner. And so the big storyline this offseason, one of them is Ezekiel Elliott holding out for a better contract, and Melvin Gordon with the Los Angeles Chargers doing the same thing. And every time there's an interview with Jerry Jones or somebody, they ask about Ezekiel Elliott, and I believe it was Jerry Jones made the remark of who?
Yeah,
just joking, and that probably didn't go over well with Zeke.
Right.
because Zeke wants the Rams gave Todd Gurley, who is the Rams running back, a huge contract. I don't know how much they pay him, like $34 million, $35 million. I don't know. So whenever a position player, a player of your position, is given like the max deal, and you're just as good as him, you want to be paid just as much, because that's kind of like setting the market. So like that's when the Rams gave Gurley that good deal, that they're saying, oh, this is what a good running back should be paid in the NFL. And so Zeke's saying, hey, if Todd Gurley's making this much, then I should be paid just as much or even more. And the Joneses and the Cowboys are saying, no, we're not going to, we're going to reset the market. We're not going to pay that much money for a running back. Because running backs, they're highly replaceable. They have a short career because they're, very prone to injury. They're replaceable. They're very replaceable because there's so many running backs out there, so many good running backs. And, the Dallas Cowboys, they have a good line, and a good line makes a mediocre running back good.
Right, but I think Zeke's argument, though, is the fact that he's not just a good running back. He is the top, if not one of the top 3 running backs in the NFL. And so that's why he wants his money while he can get it. And so that's what he's saying.
Yeah, and also he's saying, like, listen, I might not have a long career. I need to get as much money when I can. And also the Cowboys built their team around Ezekiel Elliott. Like, he's the focal point of the team.
Yeah, because I know who he is, but I don't know who the Cowboys quarterback is. I feel like
oh Jesus, it's Dak Prescott. Uh-huh. He's pretty, and that's another thing is they're both ending up on their on the rookie deals, and it's like, well, who do we pay? Do we pay Dak? Do we pay Zeke? And then you have Amari Cooper, who you traded a first-round draft pick to the Raiders for, and it's like, well, he's a pretty good receiver. We got to pay some of these other guys, and it's a huge deal.
Yeah, and the Cowboys offered Dak $30 million. He declined it, and reports came out that he was asking for $40 million because right now I think the highest paid quarterback is getting paid $34 or $35 million, and he wants just as much as them.
He's not worth it. He's good, but he's not worth that money.
Well, yeah, I mean, he can.
And to not make this show a Cowboys podcast. Yeah. I do have some questions. Like, okay, This is a sports dummy question. What's the difference between a wide receiver and a running back?
So the receiver, they typically they play on the outside part.
They catch the ball that the quarterback throws to them.
Basically,
right?
I mean, and the running back can catch it, but the running back lines up in the backfield, usually either behind the quarterback or next to the quarterback in a shotgun formation. And to the receivers, they're out running routes, hoping to catch, trying to break free from the defense to become open so the quarterback can throw them the ball. The running back, he gets the handoffs, he gets the pitches, and he runs between the tackles and the outside, and so he's mainly a runner. Granted, he can go out and run routes as well, but typically it's like take the ball in the handoff.
Running back stays closer to the quarterback, whereas wide receivers go long. More or less.
Right.
Yeah. They make catch those big touchdowns.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, so briefly, me, I probably can only name 5 football players, including O.J. Simpson. But
he hasn't been playing for a while.
So, who are some players that I guess I should know going into the season, so I don't seem like an idiot when talking to people about football?
Well, for the quarterback, we talked about Patrick Mahomes. For the Kansas City Chiefs, definitely pay attention to him. He's one of the hottest and the biggest names right now. And then you have Aaron Rodgers with the Green Bay Packers, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the league as well, but he's getting kind of up there in age. You got Tom Brady with the Patriots, Drew Brees with the Saints. You've heard of Drew Brees, right?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Dude, man.
Oh, man.
You're really... I can't believe that.
Hey, Nick. JP said he never saw Sesame Street, so
I can't believe that either. But I feel like anybody can know who Drew Brees is.
Nope.
And then what about Ben Roethlisberger for the Steelers?
That rings a bell. I feel like he's been around forever though. Like
he has been. He's an old dude.
But hearing about him in high school, like forever ago.
Yeah,
he's been around for a while
for sure. For receivers, have you heard of? Surely you've been paying a little attention to sports news. Have you heard of Antonio Brown for the Raiders?
The name rings a bell.
Well, it should because right now he's all over it. He got traded to the Raiders, and there's a whole helmet issue right now. But anyways.
Oh, that's right. He didn't want to. He wanted to wear like a different kind of helmet or something like that, right?
And so
he wants to wear a helmet that's worse for your brain.
That's worse for your brain.
Well, if you get hit, the protection's not as not as solid as
Why?
the other ones.
No, I'm curious. Why did he want to wear this other helmet?
Because it's the same helmet he wore when he was with Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he's just used to it.
He's just stuck in his ways.
Yeah, and he's a great receiver, and he just likes that helmet, and it's broken in.
I don't really even know if he wants to play football anymore because
I don't think he does.
He's made little comments saying, "Oh, I don't need football. I'm already a millionaire," and
retire, save some brain cells, man.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
you also have you heard of Julio Jones for the Falcons?
Nope.
Devontae Adams for the Packers.
Nope.
Okay, you live in Texas. Have you heard of DeAndre Hopkins for the Houston Texans?
Negative.
Oh, good lord! You need. Okay, we'll get to running backs. You've heard of Ezekiel Elliott.
Yes.
Have you heard of Saquon Barkley with the New York Giants?
Nope.
Okay. Alvin Kamara.
Nope.
Todd Gurley.
Yes. Because y'all mentioned him earlier.
Oh yeah.
That's why.
Other than that, no. Though.
No.
Okay, no. Okay. Surely you've heard of this guy. Another Texas native, now plays for the Washington Redskins. Previously played for got big with the Minnesota Vikings. Have you heard of Adrian Peterson?
Yes.
Okay,
why
thank
do I
you.
know who he
Thank
is,
you.
though? But why do I know who he is? What did he do?
Well, like I said, he played for he's from Palestine. He went and played at OU. He had a big career. He had a great career there, and then he was the best running back for a while. He's older now, but he's still pretty good and reliable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I will memorize this list, and
Yeah, memorize that list and then use it for your
my draft.
Your drafts.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, and read a sports article or something. I can't believe you knew none of those names. That's ridiculous.
I'll get myself a subscription to Sports
I
Illustrated.
mean, I'm
or something
embarrassed.
like that.
I'm embarrassed for you. I mean, you even heard you heard 3 of those names, and we mentioned 2 of them on the show.
Man, well, this is like totally not my world. All right.
Okay, and that's the point of the show is to educate.
Yeah.
So I get it. Well, anyways, NFL's cool, right, JP?
Yeah. It is. It's just fun. I can't wait. And fantasy football makes it even cooler.
Yeah,
So-
well, and what I'm excited about is that I do like that it's just weekly games. It seems like it'd be a lot easier to keep track of. And what's worrying about me, though, it's weird that they're talking about like contract negotiations and all this stuff. Whenever the season's like gonna start in 2 weeks, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's probably why I like college football more because you don't have to deal with that stuff.
Yeah.
But
Which, I guess we're going to talk about college football next episode, right?
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
But I gotta go, guys.
Okay. All right. See you later, JP.
See you, dude.
Okay. All right. Thanks for.
Bye, JP.
All right, bye.
We
See
love
later.
you.
I love you. Sexually. All right.
No.
Bye.
All right, Nick. So you ready to learn about some soccer?
You know, I really am. I know I've expressed my I don't want to say dislike, but my not really caring about soccer attitude, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm actually looking forward to it. I want to learn about soccer. I want to like soccer.
Well, I'll tell you what. Okay. So originally this episode I was going to talk about the Premier League, right? However, in my there's something more important going on right now. That's more important than the beginning of the English Premier League season. It's called the UEFA or UEFA Champions League. Okay, so Nick, have you ever heard of this before? Do you have any idea what this is?
You know what? I'd be lying if I said I did. I have no clue.
All right. Well, I feel like this, because in kind of learning about this and listeners, even though I kind of am the one who talks about soccer the most on the show, this is my first time really kind of diving deep into soccer, other than like watching the World Cup and stuff like that. But so I started learning about this UEFA Champions League, and I feel like, Nick, it'll help you appreciate soccer at least as an institution, because this thing is wild. Okay, and I'm going to try to do my best to explain it to you.
All right, I'm all ears.
All right, so Nick, you know that. Okay, actually, let me start with this. Name one of the most famous soccer players that currently plays.
Oh man. See, I was just making fun of you for not knowing any NFL players. Now you're about to get on to me. What's his name? I can see his face.
Messi, right?
No, there's the other guy.
Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cristiano Ronaldo. See,
Yeah.
I know some stuff about soccer.
Yeah. I was afraid it'd be like David Beckham or something like
I was
that.
about to say Pele, but
Oh, yeah.
he's not playing.
But, okay, yeah, so take Ronaldo, okay? Okay. Who do you think Ronaldo plays for? I'm not trying to stump you or anything like that, but just kind of, do you have an estimate of what team Ronaldo plays for?
Does he play for Spain?
Okay, so he was on. You probably know him from playing on the Portugal men's national team.
That's exactly where
like in the World Cup and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So here's where it gets confusing, okay? Because I think whenever I was watching like the international tournaments and stuff with soccer, I was familiar with Ronaldo playing on the Portugal men's national team. There was Messi playing on the Argentina men's national team. And then there was Neymar, right, playing on the Brazil men's national team. These are kind of like the top 3 players in the world. But I was familiar with the national teams that they played for. However, Nick, did you know that all 3 of them actually are also part of like European soccer leagues? So Neymar plays for the Brazilian national team, but he actually plays for a French soccer team, like in the regular season. Did you know this?
Well, I mean, no, but I'm not surprised because I know you have players that. I mean, obviously they play for their nation for World Cup or some other national type tournaments, but I know that you'll have players from all over the world playing in one league. I think it was Tim Howard, but he's a goalkeeper for the U.S. national team. I believe he played in the Premier League.
And so this is what is really interesting to me because I mostly looked at soccer as an international thing with countries playing each other, and I didn't really pay that much attention to the leagues within the countries, right? So first, in order to explain what the Champions League is, what the UEFA Champions League is, I want to talk about the kind of premier leagues within these European countries, right? So you have the English Premier League, right? Which I mean, I'm not going to go into like the top teams and stuff like that. I guess like Liverpool and Manchester City. Manchester.
See, I've heard of these teams. Like I know the names, but I couldn't tell you anything about
Manchester
them.
United,
Right,
Chelsea.
yeah.
So these are teams in the English Premier League. Now in Spain, you got La Liga, okay, and so some of the top teams in here include FC Barcelona.
Heard of them?
That's the team. That's the football club team that Messi plays for. And so FC Barcelona, they were the top team last year. Real Madrid were the 3rd place team last year. You might have heard of them. And so these are basically like the equivalent of, we have they're like AAA teams, right, in their countries. They have lower leagues and stuff, like minor leagues and stuff, but these are the top tier leagues in their countries. There's also Bundesliga in Germany. There's Serie A in Italy, which Cristiano Ronaldo plays for Juventus. That's the top team in Serie A right now. And then you have Ligue 1 for France, in which Neymar plays for the team Paris Saint-Germain, which is the top team in Ligue 1 in France. So you have these. You have these leagues with their own teams that play each other within these countries. So, this all kind of brings me around to the UEFA Champions League is an international tournament. Okay, so where different teams from different countries play each other, play teams from other countries, except they're not the national teams that are playing. So, for example, it wouldn't be England versus Spain, right? It would be a team from England like Liverpool or Manchester United playing against a team from Spain, like
that's awesome.
FC Barcelona.
I think it's really cool because it's one thing to have a national team, but it's like, okay, this is a legit team. I mean, granted, national teams are legit teams, but it's a little different.
They're kind of like a national team's like a greatest hits type thing. Like it's not a natural team. It's like a super team. But here you get like a real like regular team against a real regular team from another country.
Yeah, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and so that's what this is, and it kind of made me think of like it's like for a fan, this would be awesome, right? Because if you're a Manchester City fan and you watch them in the regular season, and then you get to see them play against the best teams from other countries, that's real exciting. It's almost like I don't know, like it's like a mashup, like it's something like that seems like it shouldn't be possible, but they do it.
They shouldn't make it this good,
right? And
so is this every year or?
Yeah, so they do have it every year, and this is what's kind of wild about this thing, okay? Because this is a tournament, and so there is a champion. Okay, last year, Liverpool from England was the champion. They played against Tottenham Hotspur, which is also an English Premier League team. However, okay, this year's tournament started June 7th, okay? Last year's tournament ended June 1st of this year. So pretty much like literally within a week of one tournament ending, the next one starts. And it lasts all year, basically.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And so the schedule is, like right now, we're in the qualifying rounds, basically. So the top three teams of La Liga, English Premier League, and Bundesliga, because those are considered the three best soccer leagues in Europe. The top three teams from each of those automatically qualify, okay? And so then they kind of pick the top teams from a couple of, second-tier countries, and then they have a whole bunch of spots for qualifying rounds, and that's what's happening right now. So right now, 26 of the 32 teams for the tournament have been set, and they're all kind of playing each other now. Generally, these qualifying matches are on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and so they're kind of filling in the last 6 spots. And so this is kind of what's going on right now. But what's cool about this is it does last all year. So the group stage, so once the qualifying matches are over, the group stage starts September 17th, and it goes until December 11th. So they just have games throughout the season, basically.
So when they're not doing the games for this tournament, do they go back to the regular league? It's like, all right, we played these guys from this other league. Let's kind of go back to our thing, and then
yes, yeah. So it never stops, because all of the leagues that I named, like all the regular, like the main European leagues, they all started their normal season this month in August, and so all this is happening at the same time, which is it's pretty wild, right? Like to schedule matches and stuff and have time to transport teams all over the place.
That's gotta be pretty crazy. Yeah, like so scheduling's gotta be an issue. Yeah. It's gotta be really tricky. And then just the fact that they're playing all these games all over all the time says a lot about their athleticism, because I would be exhausted from running miles and miles in one game, and then you travel across the country to play somebody else. That's just crazy.
Well, and so this league goes all the way to like Serbia, like it stretches from like Spain to the far eastern edge of Russia, and so that's like think of the jet lag for that. That's got to be like a 10-hour time difference or something like that. And so I mean that's pretty wild too, but. Yeah, so that's pretty much the gist of it, of what's going on right now.
So basically, it's just a bunch of soccer clubs or football clubs from different leagues duking it out against each other throughout the year. Yeah, and that's why it's cool to see the differentiation between national teams and what they call football clubs, right? So football clubs would refer to like the team within their country's league, and the national team is obviously whenever they're playing representing their country. Now, there's so much to soccer, and it's crazy that it happens all the time and it never stops. Because we have the Major League Soccer, which is we're kind of
sort of coming towards the wrapping up of the season, but for the UEFA Champions League, like, this is just starting up, and so yeah, there's always something to watch.
I mean, that's great if you're a soccer fan, and I'm actually looking forward to the MLS playoffs. I think what I'm gonna do this year is pick a team and pull for them in the playoffs and try to watch them and try to get engaged in soccer.
Well, yeah, actually, because I wasn't planning on talking too much about MLS, but right now it's actually worth watching some, especially with us being from Dallas, because currently Dallas is in 8th place. The teams that are eligible for the final or for the playoffs are up to 7th place, but FC Dallas is only a couple points behind Portland. So Portland has actually technically they have the same amount of points. They both have 37 points. So hey Nick, if you're gonna pick a time to start watching, catch some FC Dallas games. Cheer for them to get into the playoffs.
All right, man. I'll check them on. I'll check them out.
Yeah, but yeah, that's all I got for soccer, though. Do you got any more questions or anything like that?
Not really. I mean, I just, like I said, I want to watch it. I want to get into it. And I know I kind of joke about saying I think soccer's super boring, and sometimes it is, but whenever I do sit down and actually watch a match, I find it pretty entertaining and enjoyable. So I'm looking forward to picking a team and trying to get involved with it.
So next episode, we're going to be talking about college football primarily. I'm going to come in with the MLS update as well, and I might talk a little bit about the English Premier League too. We got the live episode coming up September 1st for our NFL fantasy draft, which should be a lot of fun. Now, if you enjoyed what you heard, give us a 5-star review on iTunes. Also, if you haven't yet subscribed to the show, give us a like on our Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter at WhatIsSports1. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, send us an email at wisportscast@gmail.com. But that's all we got for you tonight. We'll see you guys next Wednesday.